Some moments in life are filled with sadness and joy at the same time. Sometimes the past and the future arrive at our doorsteps at the same time. Today is one of those days for me, and I believe for many of you in this room. I mourn, like many of you, today the passing of Nelson Mandela. But I am also joyous today to be in the presence and to hear from Kiril Sokoloff. I share this and I frame my remarks in this way not to compare these two men, but to recognize that greatness within the human spirit comes in different forms, and yet can touch our lives and make a difference in our lives. Nelson Mandela inspired me and gave many human beings a sense of hope and a renewed belief in the power of the human spirit and in the power of transformation and forgiveness. Kiril Sokoloff has inspired me and this university through his generosity and through his genuine spirit of care and love for others. He is a man of great achievement, but he is a man with a powerful, sensitive, and caring spirit. I have been blessed to know him for the last few years. He is more than a donor to this university. He is a friend. He is a spiritual partner that I enjoy connecting with whenever I can. My wife Marilyn, who is present, and his wife Kate, who is also present in the back, have had wonderful communions of the Spirit, and that has enriched my life and allowed me to be the leader that I am today. So it is rare in one's journey through life that you meet someone who you've never known before or never thought would ever appear on your doorstep. And yet your meeting changes your life, changes the institution that you are leading, and makes you feel as if you have known this person all of your life. That has been my experience with Kiril Sokoloff. And I am honored that he agreed to come and speak with us today. I could go on and on about the ways in which he has altered the waters of this university. But the main thing I would say to you is that before he walked into my life, entrepreneurship was just an idea. And now today, it is a living reality in this university. It has affected our curriculum, it has inspired our students, it has produced individual entrepreneurs who are now out there trying to turn their projects into reality, and it is embedded in the strategic plan of this university. So today, the past and the future comes together. Today, mourning and tremendous joy is at our doorstep. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to the presentation.
Tim and Glenn, thank you very much for your kind words. And as for David's beautiful talk, I'm humbled and honored that a man who's so eloquent and whose vision has really become my vision feels as I do about him and about this university. And being able to endow the entrepreneurial program here has been one of the most beautiful things in my life, to watch how it's developed and the excitement in the community and the student body and the faculty. It really is a dream that is coming true. It's a beautiful thing to watch. also, I feel like I've received a gift that, as they say, the gift that just keeps giving. I'd like to talk today about how adversity is the best teacher. Because if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to understand adversity. Of course, life is all about adversity and how you deal with adversity. And my life has been defined by my deafness. I have a cochlear implant, and if I take this off, I can't hear anything, so I'm actually clinically deaf. And I was given my hearing back with the cochlear implant, which is an incredible blessing because speaking to people and interacting with them is one of my greatest joys. So it was taken away from me, and it was given back to me. So I want to tell you about my road to deafness. Essentially, deafness is the failure at the most essential level of human interaction, communication. If you fail at something over and over again, you have two choices. You can give up, or you can become stronger. And I pledged that I wasn't going to give up. I was going to fight to the end. And I decided that nothing would keep me from living a normal life. I would attend every meeting, every client call. I would do everything. I would not give up. I would not compromise. According to the Chinese proverb, if you get up one more time, then you fall. You make it through. Or Samuel Beckett wrote, ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail again, fail better. Later he put it even better. I can't go on. I go on. Rudyard Kipling put it very bluntly. We have 40 million reasons for failure, but not a single excuse. Joseph Daniels believed that defeat never comes to any man until he admits it. George Patton said, success is how high you bounce when you hit bottom. Vince Lombardi, the harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. John Wooden, the greatest basketball coach in history, his motto, success is never final. Failure is never fatal. It's courage that counts. You never know what you're made of until you've been really tested, failed, hit bottom, you think, staggered to your feet again, only to be thrown to the floor again. Deafness made me who I am. Deafness pushed me down below the waterline many times. Molded me, toughened me, softened me, shaped my character and the way I look at life. I will never know what kind of person I would have been had I not lost my hearing. But I certainly would not be the person that I am today. But if the truth be told, deafness was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I'm blessed that it happened. And even though I have a deafness gene from my father, never once did I ever think that I would have had it any differently. Never once. Never once did I say, I just had a different father. Never. Never entered my mind. I learned to control destructive and negative emotions and how to hold a laser-like positive vision for successful outcomes. Switching your mind from the negative to the positive is really a development of the heart, personal transformation. It is only adversity that makes you question who you are, how you must change, and what you need to learn. Suffering deepens and awakens the soul. Suffering heightens sensitivity. Suffering leads to spiritual development. Suffering makes you know what's really important. Suffering teaches you compassion for others. Suffering teaches you to forgive yourself and to open your heart. Suffering makes you appreciate what you have, not what you miss or think you want. Suffering raises your consciousness, so you feel more deeply than before and see beauty everywhere. But the great lesson of deafness was surrendering to the will of God. Somewhere on the road to deafness, I realized there is a force vastly greater than the human will. You stand on the beach, and your feet are planted firmly in the sand, your jaw is set, your muscles are tense, and a tidal wave knocks you down. I came to understand that deafness was bigger than me and inevitable, and I couldn't fight it, despite having gone to every doctor in the world, and I came to accept it. And I lay down before the superior force, God's will, my destiny, and accepted it. And in that acceptance was joy. And this revelation was probably the most profound experience of my life. I like to keep an open mind. Because of the limitations of my hearing, I need an advantage. And that advantage was to remove all preconceptions. And my favorite saying about the financial markets, which I'm involved in, is that it's your biases that destroy you. Mark Twain wrote, "It ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so." Louis L'Amour said, "Nobody is ever convinced by your argument. They just think up new reasons for keeping the old positions and just become more defensive." My favorite novel is Shantaram. I've given away 1,200 copies. I'll give away a book to anybody who reads it. Its author, Greg Roberts, has become a dear and precious friend. And Shantaram has some of the most beautiful language and prose ever written in the English language. I'd like to end with a quote from Shantaram that has a very special meaning to me. I was thinking about another kind of river, one that runs through every one of us, no matter where we come from, all over the world. It's the river of the heart and the heart's desire. It's the pure, essential truth of what each one of us is and can achieve. May God bless you and lead you to the river of the heart and the heart's desire. Thank you so very much. I started 13D with $25. And it's been a wonderful blessing to me and my family and everybody who's stayed with us. I had an idea that the people who had made the most money would make a very interesting subject to follow to see what they are doing with their own money. And there's a filing with the SEC called the 13D filing. That's the name, 13D. And it discloses 5% buy 5% of a public company, you have to file a 13D. It's a very detailed disclosure document. How much was invested, investment intentions, average purchase price, transaction in the last 60 days, and so on. So I became the world's expert on that because nobody else was doing it. And I had a database compiled over 7 or 8 years. And with very limited funds, I started piggybacking on some of these people, many of whom you would know. Warren Buffett, for example, Carl Icahn, who were active in the 70s. So having done this for a while, I decided to turn it into a business, and I sent out a flyer describing my objective to write a bi-weekly newsletter, which is going to be called Street Smart Investing. And I sent it to 200 people, and it was a description of who I was following and what had happened and what the results were. And I sent it out to 200 friends, and I got a 50% response. So all of a sudden I had $295 publication, so all of a sudden I have some money in the bank. But and this is the real lesson for entrepreneurs. It's cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. So I still stayed in my attic in the house, and I had a part-time accountant, $6 an hour. And then because God was looking on me kindly, we got a lot of publicity. And a woman I'd worked for named Jane Bryant Quinn had a syndicated column with 400 newspapers. And she wrote us up and offered a 3-month trial for whatever it was, $39. And it went out to 400 newspapers. So every day I would go to the post office to pick up the checks, because that was the high point of the day. And I went there and there was nothing. How could this be? 400 newspapers. And I went to the next day, nothing. And then I went to the third day and there was a little slip. And I go to the front desk, and there was a mail bag. And I took it, I drove immediately to the house of the accountant, and we were just throwing these checks. So then I was really super blessed that Forbes magazine, again, this is God, the universe, good luck, Forbes decided to do a 3-page article on what we were doing. And I was told at the time it had the biggest response that any article I've ever done. And the guy who wrote it was assistant managing editor. He couldn't answer his phone for 3 or 4 months. To make a long story short, started in June of 1983. By October, November of 1983, I had 2,500 subscribers at $195 a year. And I changed up the price to $295. So I took the tremendous leap of renting 1 room from my lawyer month to month, no commitment, no overhead, for $600. And I hired a part-time assistant. Remember, this is the early 80s, for $6 an hour. I still had the accountant for $6 an hour. And I must have had I don't really remember, but $500,000 in the bank. Didn't spend any of it, just sat on it. And then someone said, well, you know, you're giving away this information. You should have an institutional version, meaning a high-priced version for a different market of professionals. So on the weekends, I created a dummy issue. And I was, up to this time, I've been working for 10 years, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because I was going out on my own, and I was trying to make the transition from having a job to being a freelancer and eventually making independent. So, I mean, there wasn't any, you can't work any harder than that, but somehow I managed to. produced this dummy issue, and we sent it out to the 2,500 subscribers, and we got a postcard back from about 100. To make a long story short, we closed 80 at $15,000, and we got paid up front, which is the way that this business works. So now I have almost $1 million in the bank, and I start to hire staff to produce the institutional product. That's when I sign a lease for more space and hire people. But amazingly, I know that my SEAL associates would think this is rather crazy, but our first issue, we started with the people who joined us, and it turned it out the very first week. There was no trial because cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. I don't want to have these people on salary not producing, and I want to be running down that subscription liability. We started, and the mistakes that were made are really historic. There are a lot of funny stories. Excuse me. But it's been a great journey. It's been a great journey. So I could go on, but give you a sense of where we began.
Thank you. Thank you. Jonathan,